Hi everyone and welcome to this Fireside chat with Eolus Vind. With me here today I have Per Witalisson, who is CEO of Eolus Vind. Per, I thought that we could begin with a brief introduction to the company for those who are not very familiar with Eolus, and maybe a little bit about yourself. Please go again.
Thanks. I'm Per Witalisson, then CEO of Eolus. I joined Eolus as CFO back in 2006 already, and we've been CEO since 2012. So already 18 years with the company, and I must say it's fantastic to lead a company in the crossroads of the global megatrends of electrification and sustainability. So very exciting. And Eolus is a developer of renewable energy. Within onshore wind, offshore wind, solar PV, and energy storage. So we develop projects. We have an asset-light business model where we prefer to sell projects at ready-to-build status, to construct them on behalf of investors. And also we provide asset management services on long-term agreements to our customers. We have a large portfolio of 28 gigawatt and are active in seven countries in Northern Europe and North America.
Okay, very clear. Thank you for that great introduction. If we just directly dive into your most previous quarterly results, in Q2 you had a decline in sales and EBIT. Could you just maybe comment a bit on what was behind this and what investors should think of ahead and maybe for the remainder of the year?
Yes, to understand the Eolus, it's important to understand that we have quite few projects under construction and in sales phase, but that each of them are really large. It can be like 100-200 million euros each. And during the Q2 we did not announce any new sales transactions, and construction progress was a bit slower than estimated. And that one could compare to Q2 2023, which was a record high quarter for Eolus. So it's not very relevant to compare quarter to quarters. But what's important and to keep track of for the next coming months and up to 6 months, I would say, is completion of the Storsjöhöjden project, the sales of the Swedish wind projects Boarp, Dållebo, Fågelås, sales of the American battery project Pome, and potentially also collection of next milestone from the Centennial Flats project.
Thank you, very understood. Thank you for elaborating on that. Well, now you just mentioned a bit about your projects. I was wondering a little bit about Storsjöhöjden, is one of your bigger projects in your pipeline. Could you maybe just elaborate a bit on this project and when can we expect it to be completed?
Yes, it's a 42 turbine project in Sweden, which we build together with our partner Hydro. The project has been delayed due to some technical issues from the wind turbine supplier. All turbines are in operation. 37 out of the 42 turbines have passed test run already, and we expect to complete it within months. We also write in the quarterly report that we estimate our margin from the project to be protected quite well by the late delivery penalties that we will receive from the supplier, and also from the operating revenues that we collect.
Okay, very well, thank you. Understood. And if we can continue on the project side, you mentioned Dårligbo, Boarp and Fågelås. What can we expect from these projects? When can we expect them to be sold? Can you elaborate a bit on that as well?
Yes, it's a bundle of 3 smaller projects in the south of Sweden, where we procured the wind turbines during the spring. We have started the sales process, and we expect that to be completed during the autumn. And construction is progressing well. We are constructing roads and hard stands at the moment.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. As you know, offshore wind has been in focus media lately, and you've recently submitted a permit for an offshore project, Skidbladder. Could you just comment on the general view of the offshore market right now? Offshore wind market.
Yes. We generally see onshore wind as the basis in our portfolio in the Nordics, due to that it has the lowest cost of energy. But it's also evident that if the transition to an electrification is going to happen in the Swedish and Nordic industry in the coming decades, a lot of offshore wind will be needed. So that's why we have developed several offshore projects, and our main focus for the offshore projects are close to shore projects in shallow waters, which are expected to have the lowest possible cost of energy. Skidbladder is a project in our long-term portfolio. It's a really large project located between Stockholm and Gotland, and with the size that would make it possible to produce electricity like from a nuclear reactor. But it's in the long-term portfolio, so we will develop it with some caution, and to follow how the capex development and the technology develops over time.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think we can go over a little to the market. Would you say that the market sentiment has improved, or has it changed in any way given the recent rate cuts? And is this like a tool for you to enhance the attractiveness of your portfolio, or how do you view this?
It's extremely capital intense, all energy investments, so interest rates are of course extremely important for the final investor, and of course it impacts the attractiveness of our projects. So it's really good to see interest rates starting to go down in several countries. It may take it still takes quite some time to do the deals, to find the right partners and the right conditions for projects. But we also see capex in terms of wind turbines, where the cost increases at least seems to have leveled out, even if still on quite a high level. But also for solar panels, where prices have gone down significantly, and for the battery storage systems, where we also see significant price decreases. So all of that, I would say, starts to roll in the right direction.
Okay, that's encouraging to hear. And also another encouraging thing is that you've established a strong position in the US, and currently around 20% of your project portfolio is in the US. What strategic initiatives are in place to expand Eolus' footprint in the US? Do you have any?
Yes, we've been in the US since 2015, so we have, I would say, we have proven ourselves by developing and selling projects from all the technologies we are involved in. We are currently in the southwestern states of California, Nevada, and Arizona. So we look to expand our portfolio and probably also move into a couple of more states in the US in the coming years.
So just to follow up on that, regarding your project mix in the US, are there any types of energy sources that stick out a bit more in the US, or?
I would say solar projects, of course, in the sunny states of California and Arizona and Nevada. They can produce really cheap power. They need to be combined with battery storage projects. So, but we also see quite a huge need for standalone battery storage projects in the US due to the critical grid situation in many areas.
Okay, very clear, thank you. And could you just please elaborate a bit on the EU Wind Power Action Plan now that's been put into place? How can this affect Eolus in a positive or negative way? Of course, mainly probably positive. And what implications it just generally has for the EU wind power market?
It's very good and very encouraging to see those initiatives or the strategy, the entire Repower EU strategy from EU and the Wind Power Action Plan, which means that installed capacity of renewable production must more or less double from between 2022 and 2030, and these initiatives taken in the plan are to support that. So it's very important how this is now turned into action in the member states. And there we saw a good example in Sweden earlier this week when the government proposed a package with the increased financial incentives for municipalities and for neighbors to wind projects. So we think that this can really speed up things. So it's of course very positive for the sector.
That's very interesting. And you talked a little bit about battery storage in your previous answer about the US market, but you recently wrote in your most previous report that battery storage is of big significance now for Eolus. Could you just elaborate on this a bit, and what are the key markets except for US then? And what are the opportunities with this battery storage?
Yes, a lot of the learnings from the US we bring home to our European projects, and the more dominant technology will be like wind power or solar power for that. The more need there will be to compensate and for its disadvantages, and their battery storage can really play a vital role for when it comes to grid stability, frequency control, capacity reserves, and intraday trading, for instance. So we see that it will be a necessity for most larger projects going forward. So we look to when we develop project, we look to include it in almost all of our projects.
And you mentioned, just to follow up on this, you mentioned that you have hybrid projects with a combination of different energies. Can you just talk a little bit about this, explain for the viewers that aren't that familiar with this technique, how it works?
Yes. It could be both if we have a grid connection, we must dimension it for the full installed capacity. But if we would combine wind and solar, for instance, it's very few hours per year where the wind project will run at full speed. so we can use that capacity for the solar project or for the battery project, and use the same grid connection point to utilize the grid better, and to provide more valuable electrical output to the system.
Okay, that sounds very interesting. And I just have a final question a bit about electricity prices. You obviously have PPA agreements as well. Have you seen how these been affected a bit with the energy prices lately, or?
Long-term forecasts are lower now than they were a year ago. Spot prices have been much lower and have luckily decreased from the energy crisis back in 2022. But still, long-term outlook is it's quite positive, and supports our projects that we have in the portfolio.
That's promising to hear. Thank you, Per, and thank you for everyone listening.